video on apple cider vinegar. So I've been faffing around with vinegars recently, and I'm kind of quite curious about making proper apple cider vinegar. Whereas what you can do, I suppose, you can just buy cider and then turn that into vinegar, but you can just make the cider and then it naturally turns into vinegar. So I've got there's different ways of doing it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to have a play around with it, to be honest. And I've got some apples, and I've just got the peelings and the cores and a few bits of apples in there because I'm using the apples for something else. So it's not going to cost me anything. It's not. It's kind of like a waste thing. So these are going to be, most of it's just going to be waste. So it's kind of quite curious. Can I actually turn the waste from the apples into cider and then turn it into vinegar? So that's kind of quite interesting. Certainly interesting from my point of view. Certainly if I am like my sister gives me the apples from her apple tree in the autumn, and I kind of think, well, if I can take the pulp once I've strained the apples, and if I can take the pulp that I've strained the apple juice from, because I keep the apple juice and drink the apple juice, if I can take the pulp and I can turn that into like apple cider vinegar, that's kind of quite interesting. By just, adding a bit of sugar to it and a bit of water and just leaving it to get on with it itself, that's kind of quite interesting. So, peelings, cores, a few bits of apple, and then we need some sugar in a clean jar. I'm going to guess how much sugar. About that much, I reckon. And there were proper recipes, and then we'll give it a bit of shake around. But yeah, so the sugar is there to kind of feed the alcohol, feed the bacteria, which is going to make the alcohol. And then cover with water. And then, because we're using, I haven't washed the apples, because we're using unwashed apples, there should be the natural yeasts already on top of the on the in the apple cores and on the apple skins as well. So the yeast that we're going to need to make the alcohol should already be in there. So I'll just wipe around the top so we don't get any bits of apple, and then press down a little bit. My hands are clean, so that won't make too much of a difference. We might need to add a little bit more water. Like that. And then we need a bit of cling film, just so the apples, we don't want to give it a bit of shake. Make sure there's no air bubbles. And a little bit more water. So the apples need to be submerged, or they need to be turned every day, because if the apples are left in the air, they're going to go bad and go mouldy, and that's not what we want. So then we want a disc of cling film on top of the apples, like that. So the apples are submerged, and then we want, I think this, we're going to hold it down with a jar. I was going to put a jar on top. That might work. And then we're going to put some, no, I think we need a small jar. What have I got? That's a bit smaller. That'll probably do a better job. That's going to do a better job. Right. So, jar on top of there to hold the apples underneath the liquid. We might need to put a little bit more liquid in. We'll put a little bit more liquid in. And then, to protect it from anything wanting to fly in there, like flies are fruit flies are going to be attracted to that. We're just going to put a little bit of cloth over the top and an elastic band around there. So that's going to be the start of the apple cider vinegar. I'm just going to leave it somewhere and see what happens out of curiosity. I have collected natural yeast before, and I collected it from grapes. And what you simply do is you get the grapes, smash them up, put them in a container, leave them somewhere, and they naturally start to ferment. And then you can take that fermented juice and then you can ferment other things and turn it into alcohol. So, apple cider vinegar, and something else as well. So I was kind of thinking, well, if we can make apple cider, if we can make vinegar, if we make alcohol and then vinegar from apples, then surely we'll be able to do the same with carrot peelings. So I was peeling carrots the other day. These are the peelings from the carrots, and I mixed in a little bit of sugar with them, and then topped it up with water, and then I think it's starting to ferment already. We've got some bubbles forming, so I think it's starting to ferment already. So this is kind of like a 2-for-1 video. So if we can do it with apples, why can't we do it with carrot peelings? Won't it kind of have the same kind of effect? And you know, and there should be the natural good bacteria and yeasts on the carrot skins on the outside, so it should ferment. And if it ferments, it turns into alcohol, and if it turns into alcohol, left over time, it will turn into vinegar. So if we are, and I think this is right, but I haven't checked, so it could be complete rubbish. When fermenting, so I'm doing some sauerkraut at the moment. To make sauerkraut, I think sauerkraut, it's kind of, you're either making acids or alkalis. And I've got the impression, although I probably need to read up on this rather than kind of saying this is the truth, I'm thinking if we add sugar to something, then we make alcohol, and then we make a vinegar from that, which is an acid. If we add salt to something, which we're doing when we make sauerkraut, then we're turning that into an alkali, I think, because you don't, when you're fermenting sauerkraut, you're not actually making alcohol. You are creating, I've forgotten which bacteria it is that you attract. But anyway, so I think if we add sugar to something, we get alcohol and then we get vinegar. If we add salt to something, then we get an alkali, which is sauerkraut. I think. But anyway, so that's starting to bubble over, so I had to put it into a container like that. So it's starting to bubble over. So I need the, how am I going to do that? I need to kind of keep that underneath, but then I also need to stop it from bubbling over. Maybe if we push that excess liquid out, and then we'll dry that off on the outside, and then I don't think it's going to want to splurge out of there anymore, but we just need to stop any kind of bacteria or flies that we don't want getting in there. So I'm going to do the same with that. I'm going to put a bit of carrot stuck to the outside. I'm going to get some cloth and a rubber band. I'm going to put that over the top, and then hopefully it won't bubble up anymore because we've taken that liquid out of it. But anyway, so that'll be kind of quite interesting. Will that turn into alcohol, and will it turn into a vinegar? Will we make a carrot vinegar? I don't know. We'll find out. Right, we definitely have fermentation. The carrots are wanting to bubble over, and I can smell the yeast. So when I've fermented, when I collected yeast before from the fermentation, I used grapes. So I kind of know what it smells like, and that smells like it's the same type of thing that's kind of happening to that. It's thickened up though, so I think it needs some. It's bubbled out with the water, so I think it needs. I think I need to put some more liquid in that. And then there was a little bit of growth on top of the apples, but it was just on the cling film. So I think I'm going to change tactic with that, and I'm going to add a bit more liquid. And I did see that someone used to stir it every day, so I kind of think the idea was probably if you stir it every day, it kind of stops too much bacteria forming on the top, and the alcohol in the fermentation will kind of kill any kind of bacteria. So we'll change tactic on that, add a bit more liquid to that. Not have any cling film on the top of that, just have the cloth on with an elastic band, and kind of probably the same with that as well. I think that's what I'm going to do. But it's certainly fermenting a lot faster now, so we'll see how that turns out. Right, let's look at the apples. So it's certainly fermenting. I'm just concerned that this method's going to turn it off before it turns into alcohol. It's not smelling very alcoholic. There's not huge amounts of bubbles coming up. But I keep turning it every day, so I'm not entirely sure. And it's got a few spots on top. I don't know if that's what that is, but anyway. So I don't think that's the best method for making apple cider vinegar. But anyway, and then it's got a bit slimy. It's certainly fermenting. but it's quite thick. I keep having to top it with water as well. So it's a bit thick, is the liquid. So it smells like it's fermenting. It smells carroty and it smells fermenting. So if we wanted to collect some yeast for fermenting, that's probably a good idea. I don't want to taste it. It doesn't smell nice. It doesn't smell unpleasant. It doesn't smell nice. But so we'll just carry on going with that and see what happens. So apple cider vinegar. It's certainly fermenting, and what I am doing every day is I am turning it over. So we're not getting any kind of nasty bacterial growth on the top of the liquid. So it's just going to be a long process until it completely stops fermenting, which might be a few weeks. So that's fine. I'm going to carry on with that because it doesn't take much work. The carrots, kind of a bit bored of, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it would be a way of collecting a wild yeast. If you just didn't want to kind of waste anything else, you could collect a wild yeast from the carrot skins. So that's fine. So we're going to throw that away because I can't think what more to kind of do with it. It was just kind of a nice, interesting thing. It's not turning into anything interesting though. So that's that. So we'll leave this. It might be a few months before we get back to this one, but it's best off at the start of the video now and show the video now, and then the outcome, which might be in 6 months' time. But if you want to have a go, that's how it started off.